need to adjust my what we call IFB.
Is it blaring or is it too low?
It was too low. Couldn't hear anything. But
it's
I know
always a bother when it. Well, one or the other is just still annoying.
We've got
when
these
it's
little
too loud. Yeah, we have these little earpieces where we hear ourselves, and
we're probably
you're
all
just
going
screaming in your ear, and you can't adjust it.
Hearing eventually.
You know, your right ear is just busted. It's great to be here with you.
Oh, thanks
on the
for
10
joining.
o'clock hour, Chicago Now, and we have a lot that we're going to get to. We just teased it in Good Day Chicago with vitamins and maybe what might be the best lineup for you if we're taking too many, if we're taking too little. I think we're going to learn about also Movember. I said no shave November.
Yeah.
That's the...
Or you said mustache, no mustache.
I said no mustache November, which is the opposite of what the event is. But Movember we're also talking about, and that's helping folks with prostate cancer, testicular cancer, making sure that we're keeping in mind men's health as well. But first, let's talk about what you're doing this weekend, because I'm curious. You always have something going on with you and your crew.
I know, all the kids. We're doing a trunk or treat tonight.
Okay.
Natalie and I were talking about...
I love trunk or treats. They're so cute.
Have you done a trunk or treat?
No, but we were talking about it yesterday that people are trying to make trick-or-treating more inclusive, and trunk or treat I mentioned was a perfect way to, because it's all one flat surface, right? It could be just one localized area. There's not typically people jumping out and scaring kids.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so
very
trunk or treat is always a good option. I haven't actually been to one myself because I don't have children.
Sure.
But
yeah, and it's kind of a new thing.
I'm open to the invite.
You're more than welcome to come. Natalie and I were talking about it because it seems like we get enough candy during Halloween, but like we are adding in as parents extra events to get more candy, which why? But to your point, yes, that's a good flat surface. Everyone can go. It's not going to be spooky. You can decorate your trunk, and also I think it's allergy friendly a lot of times.
That's
you
true.
Can control what the kids are going to be getting. So we're doing a trunk or treat. What else are we doing? A kid's birthday party.
Wait,
as
what are your kids going to be for Halloween?
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because my middle kid is hilarious.
Have you answered this yet on Chicago Now? Is this a new reveal?
Sure.
Okay,
yes, you're hearing it here first.
Drum roll.
Darcy is so funny. She's my 3-year-old.
Hilarious.
The first time I asked her, what do you want to be for Halloween? She said a spider. And I was like, that is such a Darcy answer, a spider. Meanwhile, my oldest is like the girliest of girls.
Yeah, a pretty princess.
Be a pink bunny. No, but now Darcy's going to be a butterfly, Birdie's going to be a bunny, and Bodie, this is kind of hilarious, actually.
Oh, no.
Because I did air my dirty laundry about the baby deer in my backyard that's traumatized me. Did you hear that story?
No, I haven't.
Well, the long and short of it is there was a baby deer that was born at the beginning of summer in the back of behind my backyard, and unfortunately the mom didn't make it, and then the baby, I didn't realize that we were supposed to go save it, and so it turned into this big thing, Gabby, and I still think about this baby deer to this day. So anyways, my baby is going to be a baby deer.
Oh, well, good. It's an ode
I'm a crazy person.
Your new pet.
I'm a crazy person.
Behind you. So do you know what happened with the baby deer? Oh,
I think Coyote's got it. I think.
Oh, okay. Well, that's horrible.
Absolutely horrendous. But anyways, so what are you doing this weekend?
We don't typically talk about dead animals on the show, but I guess today we are. Well, that is so cute. Okay, butterfly, a bunny, and a baby deer. How sweet. Actually, we have no plans other than maybe like getting a workout in, but it's going to be a chill weekend. I feel like every weekend we've been tied down to something, and so it's going to be nice to just sit back, relax. We have a couple movies in mind, actually, some classics that we need to watch.
Gabby, what is that like?
I know, exactly. Caitlin.
What is that
Caitlin,
like?
I'm telling you, it is nice. Maybe we'll go out to a restaurant. Who knows?
My.
Life is good.
I might swing by a Chick-fil-A drive-thru if I'm lucky.
Oh, crazy girl. Okay. Hey, let's talk about... well, let's see. What is first on our list? In just a few days, it's National First Responders Day, highlighting the extraordinary ways our local first responders are serving their communities, and not only in daily emergencies. This is a great topic. Local fire and law enforcement raise millions for childhood cancer research through the St. Baldrick's Foundation. So this event also contributes to the greater Chicago area's impact of raising $67 million to support St. Baldrick's mission to conquer kids' cancer. So joining us is going to be firefighter Scott LeConte with the Franklin Park Fire Department. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
You know what, we've been talking about Movember coming up. That's going to be one of our next segments. And man, you look great with that mustache. You are rocking it.
That is an epic stash.
Before we get off topic too much, for viewers who may not be familiar, what is the St. Baldrick's Foundation?
Yeah, St. Baldrick's Foundation is just, it's like a volunteer company that that recently. The big thing back in the day was shaving their head, and that's how they started. It's challenging themselves to raise a bunch of money, and get them into this huge thing on how they're like the leading foundation for research for children's.
You know,
Uh-oh, are
Scott,
we
we might
hearing
have you
back
come
there?
a little bit closer maybe to the camera just so that we can get your audio a little bit better. Thank you. But it
Sure.
sounds like a great event. I believe that everyone in the audience should have heard that answer. You know, how does, you know, being involved in St. Baldrick's not only strengthen maybe your department, but your bond with other departments as well in the community that you serve?
Yeah, I feel like it strengthens it deeply. These men are some of the kindest and humble people I know. I work with these guys every third day, and every third day our bond with each other gets stronger and stronger. Our relationship becomes more than just co-workers, it's family. So when it's time for St. Baldrick's, they're not just firemen and paramedics anymore. They're just normal people that see how important it is to be selfless and do everything they can to help these kids and family at need at the moment. And I would only assume it makes the community feel proud and closer together because sometimes something this big started out in their hometown and can say that their town's fire department was #1 this year in Illinois, raising over $100,000.
Wow. Okay, so this is the 20th annual event. I'm reading here that you guys are going to be shaving your heads. Is this what it was? It's a way to raise money, and then a certain amount of you will be shaving your hair?
So that's everything St. Baldrick's is for. That's like their big thing is that you go up there, you hold a sign stating who you're supporting, and you get your head shaved on stage in front of everybody. Not everyone at the fire department shaves their head. There are quite a few of us that do. A lot of the times what they do is they donate all the time to this charity, their time, their dedication to getting raffles, and trying to meet our end goal. So they donate in that way a lot. So
Scott, are you going to be shaving your head this year?
I have not shaved my head yet.
Might be the year.
If I keep this mustache, I might shave the I'll probably shave the mustache. I don't know if I could shave my head, to be honest. But hey, maybe the 20th year, this is going to be the year for me.
You could just shave your eyebrows. Nobody would blink an eye.
Yeah, that would be
That
wild.
would be a crazy look, I will say, Scott.
Hair on top and on the mustache. So in years past, have you been there where kids maybe have come who perhaps are fighting cancer? What has their reaction been, or the family members of these children?
Yeah, actually, my first year taking over this event, because it was ran forever by one of our lieutenant, Dan Colantuano, and 2020 hit and everything just started shutting down. They couldn't get a venue to do this, so I took it over, and I found a venue. And the first year that I hosted it, there was a little girl, Ellie, and they showed up late. They ran into some traffic, but she got the news that day that she was cured of cancer. So.
Wow, that's powerful.
The
It seems like
emotions
you're
were
getting
strong.
even a
Yeah.
little bit emotional, Scott. Is that something, is it hard to almost talk about this because it means so much to you?
Yeah, it is weird because I'm not really an emotional person, but for some reason, as soon as I came into this and taking over this event, every time I talk about it in front of a bunch of people, I do get a little emotional about it. And, it is a little strange to me, like I said, because I'm not an emotional person. So.
Okay, so let's talk about your event that day. What are you guys going to have going on? Are there going to be food trucks, vendors?
Yeah, so our event is going to be March 13th of 2026. This is our 20th year. Like I said, we've raised over $2.2 million. And it starts at 6 o'clock. We have tons of live entertainment. It's going to be at Joe's Live in Rosemont. So they will be providing the food and the beverages. But we have Irish dancers. We've had Star Wars come in and go around taking pictures and having lightsaber wars. We have face painters. We have tons of kids raffles, silent auctions, grand prizes, split the pot. Like I said, last year we raised over $100,000. So this is a huge event. I want to say they clocked it in at around 800 people that showed up last year.
Wow, 800. Do you know
Wow.
on average, does it depend year by year how many firefighters are actually volunteering to shave their head and doing the whole fundraising?
Yeah, so I can only talk about Franklin Park because this is the only event that I've ever
Yeah, but on your
gone to
team,
for
is
St.
there a
Paul.
lot? Are there a lot who do it?
Yeah, there's tons. I mean, if you just go on their website, stbaldrick's.org, and you look up events in your area, you can find tons of fire departments that do this. We're just lucky enough to be doing this for the last 20 years and being the #1 event in Illinois.
Wow.
Scott, I've got to ask, because you're talking about, children here, kids with cancer. Do you guys offer tours at your fire department? I know sometimes that you guys do. You let kids come in and show them how you get all dressed up. Maybe someone local wants to come visit and say, hey, Scott said I could come. Is that a thing that you do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we have tours all the time. A lot of the schools in the area come by and we set up appointments for them. But we just had our open house earlier this month where we invite the entire town and surrounding towns to come. And we had hot dogs for everybody, popcorn. We had things set up so that they can spray water through the hose. We had a bounce house. We had all types of stuff, touch a truck so that they could go through the trucks and the engine and take photos. And then we did tours around the entire department. They got to see where we sleep at night and where we eat dinner and lunch. Very, very fun time. We do that every single year in October because it's Fire Prevention Month for October.
You know, you guys already have such a stressful job as it is. You know, it must be nice to at least have a little bit of a breath of fresh air, being able to really help the community in this way. Do others on your team feel the same?
Yeah, I feel like we came into this to help our community. We're just normal people like you and your coworker there. We wake up every single day, we put on our clothes and we go to work. I don't think we see ourselves as heroes at all. We just want to help our community out. And I feel like our department is really good at that because they just put away everything. They show up the day to help set up, and they're just there for everybody, especially the kids and the honored family members. They will do everything that they can to make that day, specifically that day, as perfect as they can for those people.
Scott, there may be other first responders that are watching right now. Maybe they want to get their workplace involved in an event like this. Where could they get more information?
I would just say, come to my event first, or our event, rather. Event first, because you can see what it can be. They can get inspiration from that. I am more than happy to give them every bit of information that I know so that they can go back to their fire department or their police department, their community, and start an event like this. We started out very small. Unfortunately, one of our members' child got cancer at a young age. I believe she was 6 years old, and that's how it started. She got cancer. They went to a couple of events and they said, hey, listen, I think we can do this. And then it just grew and grew and grew and grew. I want to say the very first event that they had, they raised over $70,000, and they weren't expecting anybody to show up. So I feel like if you want to get this event going, come to my event, talk to me, and see what it can be, and then just go back and do it. It's that easy. And I guarantee you, these families that are out there that are struggling are going to be so happy that they have a day specifically that they can celebrate, or they can just honor their loved ones that have maybe passed away, and feel good about them.
They can learn from the best. You mentioned how, maybe there's kids of firefighters in your department who are now learning, a little bit more about service and giving to others. I don't know if you have any kids, maybe they're already feeling that and you're inspiring them. But have you heard maybe some of your fellow coworkers say like, oh, this is inspiring my kid or one of my family members to do a little bit more?
Of course. The fire department we have everybody, and their kids are always a part of this. And unfortunately, one of our members' really good friends, he was coming to our event for years, and he was getting his head shaved for years. and then he came down with cancer himself. And so it was like kind of like this huge thing for us, because it was like, hey, you came every single year, you supported us, you shaved your head, and now you have cancer. And he was kind of our big sponsor child, Stephen Fulton, amazing kid. He ended up getting bone cancer in his leg, and he decided to amputate his leg. So the first year that he joined our event as an honored child, he was walking around in crutches and in a wheelchair, and he gave like the most inspiring speech ever. I don't think there was a dry eye in the um, in the crowd at all. It was wild. Yeah.
So speaking to, obviously, this means a lot to you, to the people who have cancer, who lose their hair. Can we talk about just shaving your head? Why are we doing this? What does this mean to people who are losing their hair because of their chemo treatments?
I feel like it's just, you know, they feel probably, you know, everyone looks at me, right? My hair's falling out because of chemo and all the treatment that I'm getting. And now I have to shave my head so I don't look weird with patches all over me. And then now that I'm walking around, everyone's staring at me and they're wondering, oh, why do I have a shaved head? So like this day specifically, where we all get together and we just shave our heads to show them, hey, listen, you're not the only one. We're supporting you in the fight with cancer. We'll shave our heads with you, just to make them feel better about themselves and how they look. And I feel like just doing that alone will make them feel so much better about, you know, walking around in public and feeling proud that, hey, look, I am fighting cancer. I can do this. I can beat this, you know, because there are plenty of kids that are going out there doing this and fighting and beating cancer.
Okay, we asked you, you know, if maybe other first responders or fire departments are interested. Well, what about community members? We know the event is in March, but when can people start looking out for times to donate to the event? Because we know that you have the raffle ahead of time, correct?
So our website is up live now for our 2026 event. So if you would like to go to stbaldrick's.org and just look up Franklin Park Fire Department, you will see us there. Click on it. It says donate now. It's that easy. You can donate. You can get all the information about the event, show up to the event. Like I said, we have tons and tons of raffles. So when you buy raffle tickets, that money goes to our end year total. So everything that we make that day, besides, you know, the food and the drinks for the venue, it all goes back to our event and our end year total. And all that goes back to St. Baldrick's, and that goes to their research for fighting.
Well, Scott, thank you for what you do on so many levels, for this and also your everyday work as well. We really appreciate you all.
Yes, Scott
Thank you very much.
LeConte,
I appreciate it.
Franklin Park Fire Department. Good luck this year.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Well, coming up, we're talking about supplements, what we should be taking, what we shouldn't be taking. Maybe we could talk about some myths that are out there about supplements, the vitamins. Maybe different ages require different kinds of vitamins. All of that ahead with Dr. Faris Murad with Integrated Health and Wellness. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Chicago Now. I was just telling Caitlin, everyone at home, I'm sorry. I straight up lied to you when I said I don't take any supplements because I do take a prebiotic. And then I also actually have like this whole nighttime supplement drink like routine that I do that is like a full like 5-6 ingredients.
What's in it?
What's in it? Okay,
Gotta know.
collagen, there's ibergas, which I don't know, we're gonna have the doctor weigh in pretty soon. Sun fibers in it. What else?
me?
I have
Sun fiber?
magnesium. I have coconut water sometimes. It's like, yeah, there's even more actually. Something for women's health too. It's interesting.
Okay.
It doesn't really taste
And this is
that
a
great.
beverage.
Yeah, it's a beverage I take before bed. But the magnesium especially helps me kind of get settled and not stress as much when I'm going to bed
Magnesium.
and thinking about the next day.
I used to take that for restless leg syndrome when I was pregnant.
Really interesting.
Magnesium.
Okay,
Powdered
well,
magnesium,
it's just,
right?
Yeah, well, there's different kinds, and we're going to get into it pretty soon.
Yeah.
But we have a very
Very
special
interesting.
guest joining us.
Yes, this is Dr. Faris Murad. He is with Sante Integrated Health. Oh, okay. Sante.
Fancy.
Integrated Health and Wellness. So, doctor, let's talk about your specialty first, what you do day to day, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of vitamin taking supplements.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks for coming.
I'm a gastroenterologist. I've been practicing for about 20 years. I do interventional GI mainly, which basically means I do more of the complex GI procedures. So a lot of my specialty has been colon cancer, esophageal cancer, pancreatic cancer, where I spent a lot of my time. And one of the things we've noticed and we've seen is there's this trend of like younger cancers that have been happening.
Okay.
And we don't know why, but we do see kind of a younger trend, especially you see with colon cancer. And so we've seen, that's why the age has actually dropped for screening to 45 years of age.
Oh, okay. So wait, you're not tying this to supplements though, right?
No, I'm not tying this to
Okay.
supplements. I'm just kind of giving you, I think there's a lot of things that have been happening for our nutrition and what we take and how we exercise and how we sleep. And there's a lot of things that are going on. I think maybe playing a role in some of that, but I think obviously we're here to talk about supplements, and we can talk about what we know and what's good for you and what may be a lot of hype.
Wait.
Well, before-
Nutrition and what we eat. Wait,
Yeah.
we got to talk about that. What do you mean? What do you what are we eating that's different than what people used to eat that might be leading to more cancer?
Well, ultra-processed
Well, we don't know, right? Yes.
or the
So,
microplastics?
right. So this is a huge topic. And I think when you think about what are we consuming nowadays, there's a lot of things that are on the shelf, and they sit on the shelf for weeks, and you don't know what kind of preservatives are in them, how they're full of sugar and salt, and something that's sitting on the shelf for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, is that really that safe for us to eat? I don't know. And I think, is that playing a role in how our bodies are developing maybe new diseases? We've seen there's been a lot of trends of, like I said, earlier cancers, but we're also seeing something called esophageal or eosinophilic esophagitis, which is we think an allergy that's happening to certain things we're consuming. And it affects the esophagus. It can affect the way things are kind of being swallowed, the motility and things like that. So I think there's a lot out there, but we as consumers, if it's on the shelf, we think it's safe to eat, it's safe to consume. And I think this is where we need to have a little more scrutiny about what we're putting in our bodies.
I know, it's so easy to grab that, Uncrustable or
bag
loaf
of
of bread
chips.
that's, bag of chips, exactly. Well, with this becoming more prevalent, obviously that means people are talking about it on social media. I'm in that algorithm for sure, where
Yeah.
I'm seeing a bunch of people who probably are not, certified, giving me advice on what to take, when to take it, etc. What should we trust? Should we go to our doctor right away and just kind of get a layout of what we should be taking first? Or what are our first steps to getting a little more healthy when it comes to our GI tract?
That's a great question. When we think about what we're consuming, I think it kind of depends on where you are and your age. But the number one thing is there's a lot of hype out there. There's a lot of influencers who are talking about you should be on this, you should be on that. But one of the things that I would say about supplements is supplements are really there to support your health, but they don't really replace good nutrition, exercise, good sleep, right? So something that claims it's going to improve your memory, like you want to question that because we don't know. One of the things that most people don't know is that supplements are not regulated by the FDA. And so any supplement company can make claims about how it's going to help your health, but it doesn't actually mean that there's clinical efficacy. And I think that's a really important point that we take home. A lot of my patients, what I tell them is that they're going to be on supplements. I want them to look for a third-party tested supplement. So NSF certified, USP proven. So it basically is a third-party testing that looks to make sure that what they put in that capsule or in that bottle is what it says it is. It's full, it's free of contaminants, and it's what it's, you know, it doesn't talk about the efficacy. It just means that you're taking creatine and that's it, and there's nothing in there, and there's no contaminants.
Right, because there's these processing facilities that may be making all kinds of different supplements and vitamins.
Exactly.
And they get crossed. So speaking to Gabby's question about what we should be taking, is there like a solid 4 or 5 that is safe for all adults to be taking and should be taking regularly?
So that's another great question. So back to the question. So what I tell my patients is, if you're deficient, right? If you know you're iron deficient, it makes sense that we want to put you on iron replacement therapy. You know, especially this time of year. If a lot of people become vitamin D deficient because we're in Chicago, we don't have a lot of sun. These are things that I think that you should also be thinking about, vitamin D supplements, especially during this time of year. You know, magnesium. Is magnesium going to hurt you? No. If you take too much magnesium, you may have some side effects. You also want to know what kind of medications are you actually taking. So, you know, as we get older and we see patients on more medications, some of these supplements can actually interact with their medication. So you have to also be careful, and that's why you want to speak to your physician about what you're taking at night or during the day. Like, hey, I'm on this supplement. Is it going to affect my Coumadin, my blood thinner? Because obviously we don't want your blood thinner to be affected and then you're getting too much of that. So I think it's really important that you actually talk to your physician about what you're taking and just to get their input. But, you know, for me, make sure it's NSF certified or make sure it's USP, you know, proven.
Yeah. And that's a label on the extra vitamin
Yeah,
bottle.
so if you look at...
That's really important. That's good to know, because you'll go into Walmart sometimes and you won't see that on the bottles.
Exactly.
More
buy them off
often than
Amazon.
not, right?
Yeah, right. So if you
And also, like, honestly, if people are ordering things off of Amazon or online.
Yeah.
So you don't really know what you're actually getting.
Right.
And is it been, you know, proven that it is what it is.
Do most insurance companies cover, let's say if you want to get a blood test or a blood panel drawn by your doctor just to see what you need? Smile. Uh-oh, what's with the smile? Is that
Well, I think
it's not mandatory because of, you know, whatever.
Right, so I think so insurance companies, without getting into that, you know, will cover things that they feel are medically necessary. But if I send a blood test to check a vitamin D level, they may or may not cover that. So unless I have something that clinically is happening to my patient that makes me worried about maybe they're vitamin D deficient, maybe they would cover it. But for the most part, they don't cover a lot of the testing for things that you're thinking about.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing is, I could actually test your vitamin D levels, you know, and if you're low, I know I'm going to have to give you a replacement. I can test your iron levels. If you're low, I know I can do, you know, replacement therapy. But some of these other things that are out there, like NAD, let's say, that's a trend right now.
What's NAD?
NAD
Exactly
is
what I was going to ask you.
So NAD is basically, we know it's something that works in the mitochondria. So the mitochondria are the create ATP, the energy powerhouses of our cells. There are some thoughts out there that if you can increase your NAD levels, you can actually help your cellular function be better and have more energy. The problem is we don't know if you take an oral pill, if you get an IV infusion, if that's really getting into your cells and creating what they are saying it's supposed to do. So I think there's a lot of hype out there. There's just not a lot of clinical trials out there to actually say, this is what's happening. You're actually getting a clinical benefit. So it's hard for me to recommend some of these things, even though the influencer is recommending it.
Well, and that's what I was going to actually bring up was NADs also, you know, along with it, but a little bit different because NAD is a little different because so many influencers and such are getting it, but just also everyday ones, melatonin, creatine, what else do I have written down here? Collagen are ones that we hear a lot.
I think creatine is a good one to talk about.
Their benefit.
But creatine is something that's been studied, and we know that creatine actually can help with your muscle, but it doesn't replace actual strength training. So we don't want to lose muscle mass as we get older. It's really important that our muscle mass is stays as stable as possible without breaking down. As we get older, we lose muscle mass. But taking creatine as a supplement every day isn't going to increase necessarily your muscle mass if you're not doing weight training or resistance training for your muscles. So it's good for us because as we do weight training and we break down our muscles, your muscles actually need that protein to help rebuild. So on one hand, it's really good, especially if you're doing weight training. It'll help you build your muscles better.
Yeah.
But it's not going to help prevent your muscles from breaking down if you're not doing those kind of things. If you lead a sedentary lifestyle and you're sitting around all day, you're not working out, you're not exercising, the creatine's probably not going to do anything for you.
Yeah, it's going to go right out the other end.
I love these kind of segments. You see,
Yeah.
I'm literally writing notes for myself just to
look at
write
you.
down what
Yes.
you're saying.
Well, I was wondering about like a multivitamin. So we were talking about how at the top of the show, Gabby, she takes some vitamins, but I was taking like prenatals,
Yeah.
and I figured it doesn't hurt. I would continue to take the prenatals after my babies. What about just like a women's generic multivitamin? Is that okay to take?
Absolutely.
So it doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt, but it's the same thing. I would say, look at the ones that are
Yeah, like
NSF certified.
Nature's. I'm trying to think of a couple of the brands that are more safe and well known that they're legitimate.
But does safe and well known
right.
always mean that it is
Exactly.
actually safe?
No, we don't know.
So we don't know any brand that's safe?
No,
No,
I don't want to like list brands, but there are some that have gone through. And if you look on the labels, it'll say either USP verified or NSF certified. And that just means it's gone through third-party testing so that what's in that pill is what it says it is. And it's free of contaminants.
Okay.
So I love free medical advice, doctor, if you may. Because I was talking about my little nighttime drink that I have. I would always suffer from stomach aches before I went to bed. I go to bed really early, so maybe I'm having a later dinner compared to when I am actually falling asleep. And I started doing that drink, which includes sun fiber, which I bet you maybe know about, and ibergas.
What's the fiber?
It's sun fiber. So it's essentially like an alternative to psyllium.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't actually get as large, I don't know the technical terms, as psyllium does, expand as much in your drink. And in ibergas too. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I don't know ibergas.
Okay, well then maybe I don't know if you're going to be able to tell me if it's good to be drinking every day or not. But I know that they are certified under a couple that you just said.
Yeah.
But is it, having these everyday drinks, is it okay, or should I be really watching what's in them in order to be drinking them every night?
I think they're okay to take, absolutely. I think if it's NSF certified, like I said, but you may get side effects from some of the things that they put in it, like if you're talking about fiber. So what do we know about fiber? There's a lot of hype about fiber, but fiber doesn't break down as easily in your GI tract, and it can lead to gas and bloating. So, depending on the concentration that is in there, it may give you some clinical benefit, it may not do anything for you, it may actually have some side effects. So same thing with collagen. We know collagen is supposed to help your skin, but how much are you actually getting in? How much is it really helping your skin? I don't know. I think you take it with a grain, take it with a grain of salt. Are you spending money on this product because it's really helping you, or it's not really helping and you're spending money on this product? So if you feel better, if you're doing the things that are important, trying to get good sleep, eating well, exercising, these are not going to hurt you. And as long as you're not on any medications from your doctor, make sure that they're not going to have any sort of, not cross-contamination, but affect the medications you're on. I think it's totally safe to take.
Okay, because it has cured my stomach aches.
There you go.
And I sleep well.
Maybe it's not a placebo
I feel good.
effect.
It's not. I don't think it is this one.
I think there's a lot of great supplements out there. I just think you have to also just understand that, if it works for you, great. If it's not working for you, then save your money.
Could you tell us, last question, and I know you didn't want to give brands, but as a doctor, do you take any daily supplements for your health?
I don't. I do take vitamin D on occasion. Sometimes I'll take magnesium on occasion. Honestly, the only thing I take that's not a supplement is a baby aspirin every day.
Okay.
But I've tried. I'm not to say that I've never tried any of these supplements, because you want to believe the hype, like, oh, this is going to help me. Oh, this is going to help my memory. Oh, this is going to help me lose weight. This is going to, kind of curb my appetite. I think they're all great to try. Just be careful and try to find the ones that have been, at least verified, so that what you're taking in is actually what you're putting in your body.
Well, then you're living proof of that. Yeah, you don't spend your money if you don't feel like you need to. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Is there anywhere, people at home, if they're interested in learning more about you, maybe your practice, where they can find you on socials?
Yeah, thank you. We're just opening a new clinic in Winnetka. It's called Sante Integrated Health and Wellness, and so our website is sante360health.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Dr. Murad, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me this morning.
Okay, coming up, we're talking about Movember, which is pretty much No Shave November, but a little bit of a twist. We'll have much more with that coming up. Still thinking about these supplements, man. Looking online and such, but we're talking about mustaches or facial hair. Move out of the way, No Shave November. We're talking about Movember this year. It's the world's largest, or the world's leading men's health charity, and November 1st, 2025 kicks off the start of the 23rd annual campaign to raise funds and awareness for prostate cancer, testicular cancer, men's mental health, and suicide prevention around the globe. So joining us is going to be Riley Glassman, a local guy who has been raising money as a Mo Bro, I love that name, for over a decade, and he joins us now. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Riley. First of all, Riley is what my husband wanted to name our son. I love your name.
Oh,
Riley.
so
How
sweet.
stinking cute is your name?
It's a great name. I've met more dogs named Riley than people, though, so.
I get that. I get that. Birdie is my kid's name. I've met more dogs named Birdie than actual people, too. All right, off the topic. So let's start off right off the bat. What's the difference between Movember and No Shave November?
So Movember's been around for a lot longer, and we really focus in four main areas. So I'll just give you an overview about what Movember is. So Movember is a super fun, awesome charity that I've been a part of for 10 years now. They're the leading charity dedicated to changing the face of men's health. So healthier men mean a healthier world. So we really challenge men to grow mustaches during the month of November. Raising funds and awareness are also at the core of what Movember is. So we focus on four main areas, which are prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health, and suicide prevention. So if you've ever seen a couple extra mustaches walking around during the month of November, that's probably why.
That's the reason. Okay, we're seeing a video of you right here. Is this kind of like a vlog that you do? Is it something that you're posting on social media just to talk about Movember?
No, well, it's all the Movember community ambassadors do it, which we have ambassador in I think about 30 cities now. So we did kind of just an overview about what Movember is, and you'll see I was wearing a special shirt in that one that says "You Matter in This World." So yeah, that was just a fun campaign that we did recently.
So how is the mustache and fundraising connected? Is it if you grow a mustache, then maybe you can get people to donate to keep you growing that mustache?
Amen. Grow a mo, save a bro. That's the motto.
I love it.
So it actually got started in Australia in 2003 when a couple of mates got together and they said, hey, you know, men's health is a very big issue in the world right now. We need to, you know, kind of make it a known thing. They said, how do we do that? How do we start conversations? They said, let's grow a mustache. So they grew mustaches. People said, why are you growing mustaches? And that got the conversation started.
Okay, obviously it's been going on for 20 years, as you said. How long have you been involved, and what, you know, caught your ear, I guess, to think, oh, you know what, I'm gonna start doing this too?
So I've been involved for 10 years now. I got involved in college at Indiana University. Go Hoosiers. Full transparency, my fraternity did it because it was a good excuse to grow a mustache. And, you know, at the time, we didn't know much about what Movember was or what they did. We spread the word on social media. We posted pictures of our mustaches, which at the time were very ugly because we were sophomores in college. But my motto when it comes to the stashes is the uglier the better. But then after college is really when it took on a new meaning for me. You know, I've seen several people in my network be impacted by the causes that Movember supports. I've struggled with mental health issues of my own. I unfortunately had a friend take his own life. And I think we all just know someone, whether it be a friend, a brother, a cousin, a father, etc., a man in our lives that has been impacted by one of the causes that Movember supports.
So Movember, if you want to get involved, maybe there's somebody who's listening that thinks, I could grow a mustache to raise some money for these causes. Do you have to do it online? Is there like a website you have to create a profile or something?
Yeah, so I would encourage anyone that wants to get involved, you can go to Movember.com. You can create an account. From there, you can really get as creative as you want. I've seen a lot of creativity out of people. It's amazing every year. You can create a team. You can fundraise with your friends. You know, I encourage people to attend events if they're happening in your area. Grow a mustache. You know, ladies, I'm not necessarily suggesting that you do this, but I did have a girl on my work team one time who grew out her armpit hair for the month. And she raised like over $2,000. So I'm just amazed every year at how creative people get. So I just really encourage everyone to create an account and do your own thing.
Gabby girl, that's all you.
I mean, I can grow a pretty mean mustache, I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yes, I have to do a little bit of self-care with that, and that's for no money at all.
I love it.
What are we talking about when we hear like raising money? Are the donations usually, you know, $5 is what you contribute, or is it up to, you know, $1,000, or is it kind of just based on the person who's actually donating?
Yeah, it's really dependent on the person. I think you can, you know, people fundraise in a lot of different ways. You can raise money, which is great because that money goes towards important causes. But for example, like myself, I like to actually fundraise and raise awareness when I do Movember. So I focus on four different ways of fundraising and raising awareness. The first one, I'll be shaving down on November 1st and growing a mustache, which is always a fun journey in itself. The second way I'll be raising awareness is I'll be running 60 miles during the month of November.
Wow.
Which represents the 60 men that we lose every hour to suicide globally.
Wow.
I will also be calling a friend on every run I go on to check in with them. The third is raising awareness. I like to be very big and loud and active on social media. And I've found that people enjoy that as well, and they're more likely to donate if you're actively posting. And then the last is, like I mentioned, events. You know, we have a few events planned by myself and the two other Chicago ambassadors, Mark and Moose. You can follow at Movember Chicago on Instagram, and we will be posting details about that in the next couple of days. But I do know we will be hosting one event at Winnie's Chicago on 1400 North Wells Street. But again, more details to come there, so follow at Movember Chicago.
I just know that you, Mark, and Moose can just grow some killer mustaches. You don't even have to
you should
really
see
prove
Moose's.
it to me.
You should see Moose's. He's got the best one.
Is that his real name, Moose? Or is that his nickname?
That's a name for a kid.
Right?
It's become his real name.
I love it so much. Grow a Mo, save a bro. Riley Glassman, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about this. Movember.
Thank you very much for having me. Yep.
And I love the mustache.
Movember.com if you want to get involved.
Got it. Okay.
Beautiful.
We'll be following your journey as well. We're going to have to check in on you maybe at the end of Movember. We can
And
see
Gabby will have a mustache.
that crazy
and all of our
mustache.
hair.
I don't think anyone wants to see that. I don't think I could even like show myself on TV. Caitlin, you're laughing, but it's not funny. It's not funny. It's bad.
Oh no.
Anyways, when we come back, we're going to talk about the future of AI jobs, because that's pretty terrifying when you think about job safety. Hopefully they can find ways to get rid of my mustache so I don't have to keep on getting rid of it myself. Okay, we'll see you after this break.
Welcome back, 10:48, and we are talking about AI. I feel like this topic is going to come up in discussion time and time again because we're all a little bit uncomfortable with it, I think. So AI is often portrayed as a job killer, and just this week, a New York Times report citing leaked documents says the tech giant is looking to reduce hiring by more than 500,000 workers thanks to robots. So what does that mean for our job security? Joining us this morning is Jitu Patel. And hi, G2. He is the Cisco President and Chief Product Officer. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I spent 20 years in Chicago, so I feel like I'm coming back home. So thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, too bad we can't have you in person. Where are you located now?
I'm in the Bay Area, but I come to Chicago often, so I'll look you folks up when I'm there next time to be in studio.
Yeah,
okay, our last hard-hitting question of this interview will be your favorite spot, so keep it in mind now. But we're talking about the outlook of AI in the workplace. You know, what are your initial thoughts, kind of to share with everyone in layman's terms, because you know it's a complicated and fully loaded question.
It is a complicated question, but it's actually a really exciting time, and I feel like this narrative that people have that, you know, we have now approached the end of human creativity. We're all just going to be sitting by the ocean staring at the sky. I just think is a bit overhyped. What's going to happen is every single job will change because of AI. And what will also happen is I think humans will continue to be creative, and I think we will have a tremendous amount of addition of productivity that will happen for each one of us, where we'll be able to get more done because of AI. So I don't feel like people should be worried. In fact, I think about this as 3 stages of maturity. Stage number 1 of maturity is when everyone thinks that jobs are going to be lost to AI. Stage number 2 is when people realize that, hey, I'm not going to lose my job to AI, but I'm going to lose my job to someone who might use AI better than me. And stage 3 of maturity is when you start thinking, you know, I don't think I can get my job done in the future without AI. So I better start getting on with it. And rather than sitting on the sideline, just immerse myself and start to get an instinct for it.
Okay, so I like that outlook. Of course, with any technology, there's going to be growing pains, and people are going to want it to be the way it was in the past. But there has to be some jobs that are going to be lost. I know you said growing alongside AI, but what jobs have you seen in your research are really going to be eliminated and people could have trouble relocating afterwards?
I think, you'll see a fair number of areas which are either repetitive tasks or where you actually have to use a lot of data, where you will see an impact on jobs. So for example, and I'll give you an example, there was, for a while people said, well, radiology jobs are no longer going to be there because AI is going to be able to do radiology. Right now you're seeing the largest amount of shortage of radiologists, but you will see over time that diagnosis with AI along with radiologists with a human in the loop might be a better way to go at it, to diagnose disease, than just going out and relying on the radiologists. So I think there will be certain jobs that'll have to get reimagined and reconfigured. In fact, I'd say most jobs that we do today will have to get reimagined and reconfigured. And historically, when you've seen these kind of changes, they always started from the lower ranks, right? Where you had blue collar jobs that went first. In AI right now, you're starting to see that there's a far amount of impact that'll be had on creative jobs and senior level rank jobs. But I do feel like there will not be a shortage of humans wanting to have labor done. It's just going to be done differently than the way it's happening right now. And I think as a society, we need to make sure that we upskill the workforce rather than thinking about jobs won't be had.
What about the other way? What questions might, or what jobs might be safe from AI, at least for the foreseeable future? As you said, it seems like everyone's going to have to work with it at some point.
My mother was 3 years ago. She passed away. She was in the hospital for like 8 weeks, and I'll tell you one thing: no robot's going to be taking away a nurse's job. It's there's a level of warmth and human instinct that's needed for going out and getting that job done that I don't think is going to be going away anytime soon. And so I think there'll be many such jobs where there's a level of human empathy that's required that continue to stay on. But even nurses will have an augmentation of assistance because of AI that might allow them to do their jobs faster. The thing that I feel is the wrong narrative is this is just going to take away all jobs. I think the narrative that we should be focused on is how are we going to reskill society so that all of us can actually make sure that the jobs of the next generation can be done with a far greater level of output. Because I feel like scientific progress will probably compound at the rate of 1,000x. And we'll be able to solve problems. Like, here's the thing I feel is most underhyped about AI right now. Right now, people think of AI as this mechanism where it's just going to be like a better search engine and you'll be able to go out and do things in a more effective way. But what's underhyped about AI is the original insights that these AI algorithms will be able to generate that allow us to solve problems that we as humans had deemed impossible to solve. And the way in which we might cure cancer in the future might be very different. And I think that's an exciting future to live to, without keeping in mind that you can't be just rose-colored glasses. There's going to be security risks. There's going to be safety risks. There's going to be aspects which will be downsides that we have to mitigate for. So don't be delusional about it, but actually make sure that you can take advantage of these massive innovations that are happening so that we can progress humanity forward.
That's what I was going to ask you, Dr. Patel, is what are you scared of? Because there has to be, a concern that AI is going to be smarter than obviously is smarter than humans, outsmart humans, and maybe I'm sure you've heard those conspiracies, right? Where AI is going to get out of hand, out of control. Are you concerned about that at all?
Here's what I am concerned about. I'm concerned about what happens on the security front with AI, because if you think about the security landscape, the bad actors, the adversaries that actually do cyber attacks, those people have all of the same tools that you and I have. And these attacks are going to get far more sophisticated, far more bespoke and personalized. You know, like if I look at this a few years ago, you'd get this email from some prince in an exotic country saying, "Hey, can you just give me your address because I want to wire you $10 million because you've just won this kind of thing from the prince." I think that's not going to, it was pretty easy to decipher because that was actually a spam email. Now it's going to be much more, focused on, "Hey, Gabby and Caitlin, good to see you yesterday at the baseball game with our kids. Here's some pictures, click on a link." And they'll actually give you a bait that's going to be far more personalized. And that's where I actually worry about that. Securing AI is going to be very important for society. And we currently have a trust deficit where people don't trust these systems. They're not going to use them as well, but they can also have a lot of harm done if people fall for these things. So I do think that there's a whole movement that needs to happen to mitigate the risk around AI. Otherwise, it could get pretty damaging for people.
And
that's what I worry about the most, is the security implications of AI.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that's probably what people are honing in on. But I'm glad that you're clearing up some of these misconceptions. And I hope that law enforcement and our government are watching and making sure that they're keeping up with the advancements that AI is going through right now. You kept on mentioning making sure that you're putting yourself in a good place, getting on the AI bandwagon. Are there any tools that you're familiar with that people can start using right now? Maybe they're in college trying to pick a career, or maybe they're already a professional and need to get that leg up. Are there any resources or trainings that people can do?
Yes, that's, one of the things that people ask me is what kind of training can I have in AI? And the beauty about AI is AI itself can be a training tool. So if you use ChatGPT or you use Claude or Google Gemini or any of these tools, what it allows you to do is get smarter in a very, very compressed time frame on any topic area. And so what I would encourage people to do is start using these systems. Just like if you think today, can you imagine a person in the knowledge worker scenario that doesn't know how to use Microsoft Word or doesn't know how to use PowerPoint? Like these are tools now that are part of our day-to-day existence. And I think AI is going to become like that. Just like you use Google on a day-to-day basis for search, you're going to use AI, and you should think about it as a companion. The one thing I'll say to you, that someone who is early in career, someone who's just getting out of college, the way they use AI is very different than even someone who is like 30 years old. The one who's 30 years old might use AI as a search replacement. Like, I'm going to start using AI instead of a search tool. Someone who is 20 years old uses AI as a companion, and they might actually think of it as a brainstorming partner. And I think the people who are using it that way are finding far more value from it than just thinking of it as a transactional tool for going out and getting a task done. So I would encourage everyone to start using tools like ChatGPT and using tools like Google, because that's a first step in really getting an instinct and a feel on what these technologies can really help you do. Get way, way smarter in a much more compressed amount of time.
You know what we're going to have to do, Gabby?
What?
Have 20-year-olds on the show and ask them how they're using AI. Because I agree with you.
I am in my late 20s.
We're already behind.
Fascinating.
No, 20.
Oh, 20. Okay, actual. Okay. 19 plus 1. All right.
Yeah. You're basically.
Or even like, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and the way she uses it is very different than the way that a 35-year-old uses it.
Yeah, right. Right. Well, I've got kids too, so maybe when they grow up, they can teach me the ropes. But you got to wrap your arms around it and keep up with it. Yeah, as it goes.
They're what they call them AI native people. They've actually they've grown up with AI their whole lives.
Right.
So it's a very different way and we should learn from them.
We've got to grow with the times or get off the boat because it's moving.
My generation isn't very helpful because we can just teach you about Instagram and TikTok. That's about it. And these kids are going to be much smarter than us. All right, thank you so much, G2. We appreciate your time, and thanks for joining our program.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
All right. Well, that was a jam-packed show, and we're going to have another one here at 11 o'clock.
Tia Ewing
is going to join us, so we'll see you then right after this break. 11 o'clock hour of Chicago Now. Like I said, we had a jam-packed 10 o'clock hour, and now we're just kicking it off with our Friday of 11.
I am so happy that it's Friday.
Tia.
It feels like, I don't know, lately it's starting to feel like these Fridays are taking weeks to get to.
Well, do you remember when Tuesday, I thought it was Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you make that mistake. You had a lot of
I don't know either, but that's what had happened. And so I'm definitely ready for this. Do you have any weekend plans?
Not really. Tomorrow I'm supposed to host, do a fire chat conversation with JWoww and also Vivica Fox at the Women's Expo. So if you're going to be at the Women's Expo on Saturday afternoon, I will see you there out in Rosemont. So that will be fun. But after
Where's
that,
my invitation? Tell me you're going to be streaming this or something.
Come. I just found out about it yesterday. That's when I got the invite. First, I'm going to take my daughter to dance and her modeling and all that stuff. And then after that, I'll be in Rosemont doing that for an hour or so.
That story is modeling, because you don't know how many people I've talked to around here who think that story is just the cutest little piece of pie ever.
Thank you.
So I'm so glad to hear that. Well, that's fun.
What about you?
Caitlin said that she was doing trunk or treats. I have nothing planned, as I told her. I am just going to be chilling. Maybe I have plans now in Rosemont. That's where it is, right? You said Rosemont?
Come on.
Yeah, I'm just going to be chilling, and Brendan and I maybe have a dinner plan, maybe not.
Yeah.
We're going to watch a couple movies, and it's going to be a nice fall weekend.
Yeah, sometimes that's all that's needed, right?
Yeah.
Whose birthday?
Oh, Bo's birthday. Adina,
Adina, the producer of the show.
Oh my gosh, and he is so cute.
He really is.
He
could also be a model.
Handle it, guys. I cannot even handle it. All right, anyway. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we have planned. There's going to be some exciting stuff with people here with Chicago Now this weekend. We have a packed show, though, as I said.
We do have a packed show. We have a lot coming up. We're talking viral longevity hacks, from extreme fasting to sleepless biohacks. They are flooding TikTok and Instagram, but many are saying that, you know, they find some of this stuff to be unsafe.
Yeah, well, is that your algorithm? Do you get a lot of like health facts and stuff like that? That is 100% all I see. It's like almost like I'm searching for the fountain of youth. And I get
a lot of fashion stuff, but in fairness, that's what I look up on my phone.
That's
things
true,
that are so I think it's just finding me. You know,
what goes good with a white blazer like yesterday? What goes good with brown shoes? And yet I'm not getting what I need.
There's one major retailer out there who a lot of women love their clothes, and apparently there's a lot of Shein. Am I saying that company right?
I think so.
There's a lot of Shein hacks. Like literally, they're putting these high price tags on these clothes, and they're straight from the Shein factory. And I follow a lot of those videos, and I enjoy them.
Interesting.
I'm not going to say the name of the retailer, but you can probably do some Googling and find out.
Okay, well, for this show, you're going to get some more of like TikTok health facts, I guess.
Yes, you are.
Also, on Monday at University of Chicago, a special college fair will offer students an immersive conference-style experience catered on 7 important industries, which I wish is something that was offered to me when I was in college. Man, that would have helped clear up a lot of stuff.
I remember going to the college tours, but they were just, you know, it would be the colleges, you know, at the desk or whatever. They talk to you about their programming, and that was it. This sounds like this is a little high tech, and I'm really curious to talk to them, and especially in an environment where we've seen a lot of funding cuts for students who would typically be able to go to college. Maybe that funding isn't there, so that's going to be an interesting conversation. But first, we got to talk to Block Club Chicago. We're talking to Manny Ramos, who is behind this story that he broke. We've been talking about Operation Midway Blitz, and I think a lot of people kind of thought somebody was making money, but didn't really realize who was making money and how much money was in all of this operation. Obviously, it's going on in the Chicago area. Manny, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. It's great to be with you guys.
Okay, so when it comes to this, obviously this is happening in Chicago. So obviously there has to be some type of connection with companies, businesses, someone in the Chicago area. Tell us who's profiting from these ICE raids going on in our communities.
Yes, I mean, this is one of the questions that we've had since all of this began, you know, over a month ago. And so we started looking at the databases that are provided by the federal government. And what we found is that, you know, there are several companies, you know, close to a dozen companies at the very least, that saw an increase in federal contracts related to Operation Midway Blitz. These are companies that have partnered with a variety of agencies such as ICE, such as DHS, such as Border Patrol, and the range that are all involved in this operation. And what we found is there's a relocation company, part of a real estate company, that has helped move ICE agents across Chicago area and possibly across the country. And that contract was worth, in total, about $7.4 million. So a big contract over 4 months, which ended the day that Midway Operation Blitz began. We also learned about United Tactical Systems, which have been providing pepper balls and air-powered guns to federal agents, which we have seen deployed in and around the Chicago area, specifically at the ICE detention facility in Broadview. And so with all of this going on, we just wanted to hone in to see who is profiting. I mean, we've seen local businesses in Chicago not doing that great at the moment. So it's interesting to see who has benefited from it.
Yeah, have you been able to get in touch with any of these companies? Have they been able to respond to your findings?
Unfortunately not. No, we've emailed, we've called, but none of them have responded to our inquiries or requests. We did actually reach out to one small firm based out of the southwest side of Chicago who was providing Border Patrol with pizza ovens and griddles for cooking. They wouldn't go into details about what the contract was, other than, they provided this stuff to them. They don't know where it went. And they also said that they stay out of sort of like what operation missions any of the federal government agencies they work with are involved in.
Manny, we're in a government shutdown. I think today marks day 24. There's a lot of back and forth on who's to blame. This group is saying this group of people is to blame. When you talk about $7 million in 4 months, we're talking about one company. Were you able to find out some of the findings in terms of financials for these other companies? We can't reach an agreement on a budget, but you can throw out $7 million for 4 months in one location. We're not talking about the other ICE operations that have been going on in other places.
Exactly, and it should note that that $7 million that they received over those 4 months was a boost in their federal government contracts. These are the largest contracts that this company has landed since it's been working with the federal government. So they're significant even for the companies themselves. We've also learned of a Chicago, a Swedish-based company called Invisio Communications, but their headquarters in the United States is in Chicago. And, they earned close to $400,000 for providing tactical headsets to Border Patrol for communications. We learned about a Harvard, Illinois-based Proliance Corp, who was selling, or leasing equipment for dental panoramic machines, X-ray machines for ICE detention facilities, including ones like at Broadview. Motorola Solutions, based in Virginia, but also they were providing access to their Starcom 21 radio network for communications for operations in Chicago. So there are several, including what I found most interesting was a company called Arcus Group, who has been providing fencing and barrier protections for federal buildings, including the federal courthouse in Chicago and Rockford.
Yeah, I did see that new fencing put up and concrete barriers in front of the Dirksen Federal Building. Talking about some of these companies and businesses, I don't know if this is a good question for you, Manny, but do you think that they should be scared that maybe protesters will end up going to their headquarters, to their area to protest there because they want them to stop, giving them the tools, ICE the tools to cause this havoc?
Yeah, I can't answer that question, right? I mean, they didn't respond to any of my questions regarding their support of this mission. Whether or not protesters decide to, picket their offices or anything like that, that's beyond me. My point is just to sort of show some accountability on who's working with this, who's profiting off of these measures, while families are having to deal with this in their communities.
Well, Manny, first off, let's say really good work on this, because I mean, it was some good questions that went into the digging behind this. I do want to ask you this. You mentioned the company that supplied the pepper balls, right? And we remember just yesterday outside of the Discount Mall, ICE agents tried to get into that parking lot. They encountered a security guard who asked a very valid question, like you're asking valid questions as a journalist. Where is your warrant? Was the question that security guard asked to the ICE agents. It was not supplied, but instead that security guard was hit with pepper balls. Even Greg Bavino apparently threw one right into the area of the face of that security guard. My follow-up question is, why do you think it is important for people that read your article, for people to know this information at a time like this where it is so crucial. This is happening in Chicagoland every single day.
Yeah, I mean, people should know where the weapons are coming from that are hurting their bodies, right? I mean, these are non-lethal weapons, right? But the impact is clear. I mean, they clog the breathing way, they irritate the eyes, they leave bruises and open wounds on bodies. You know, so the fact that this is happening to residents in the Chicago area who are saying, hey, the approach that you're taking in enforcing your immigration operations is violent at times. They should know where the companies are that are providing this mechanism for these agents to carry out these missions.
I know this is a new report, but I'm always curious to hear from you. You know, what has the response been from the community? Are they really, you know, giving you the clicks and outraged as maybe you thought they'd be?
I mean, it's been received well for the most part in terms of, you know, folks who aren't for these immigration enforcement activities, right? I mean, I have heard folks who are pro-immigration activities that are happening here in Chicago that are against my kind of reporting. You know, but when I write stories like this, I'm looking for the greater public and accountability, and I feel like this is an accountability message that can resonate with everyone.
You know, there was a report done by another station in town, and I thought they did a fantastic job of it. They talked about, you know, the immigration policies that were initially spoken about, you know, as Trump was running for office. As we have now arrived here, the message was, we're going to go after the criminals. And their reporting showed that, in fact, most of the people that have been brought into custody are not criminals. Manny, you having a voice, I'm just taking it from what we're talking about here. You may have a closer voice to the community maybe than we do. What is the community telling you about all of this? And are you working on even future pieces beyond the one that was just revealed about these businesses being involved?
Yeah, you know, our coverage in Block Club is really entrenched in immigration enforcement activities in Chicago. So our stories are going to continue coming out, including my own, and I have several in the works as well. As far as what the community members are saying, I mean, I think it's quite clear. People are afraid to go to visit businesses right now. People are afraid to go to school, to pick up their children from their classes. They're afraid to even to just hang out at a Home Depot right now, right? So the fear is palpable anywhere you go in these immigrant communities, and even outside of that, the effects are happening everywhere. So the fear is high, but also the fight is also high, right? I mean, folks are protesting and you know, sharing their voice against these very aggressive tactics, and they will continue to do so until there's some kind of change, I feel.
You know, you obviously you're giving us the lowdown on what's happening with some of these bigger companies, but then you think about the small businesses, as you said, you know, especially in Little Village. I was there all day yesterday, and it was day 2 of the unrest. Obviously, people were already scared to go shopping and go to their local spots, but now they're even more scared. So really, what is the seriousness, you know, with these small businesses? Is it going to just continue to be kind of a ghost town until you think things are cleared up?
Yeah, I don't know what the future holds, right? I know it's not just Little Village, it's Belmont Cragen, it's all these other neighborhoods where the businesses are struggling too. And even business owners are afraid, right? Like I read a story the other day where one of the business owners, a restaurant owner in Little Village, is having to keep their doors locked just in case ICE agents run in there, or they're rushing in, you know, community members who are running from ICE into their business to hold them there and take them home. You know, this is just going to continue on until these operations stop. And I can't say, I don't think anyone can say other than the federal government when the plan is to stop this.
You know what I find very interesting about this, Manny, is Chicago is a city of communities, right? You have all of these different pockets of neighborhoods that have different cultural makeup, right, of every single neighborhood. You have Chinatown, right? You have places where it's mostly African American, black folks, right? And so it's very interesting to me that when we talk about immigration in this country, that we immediately go to the migrants that recently arrived here, but we're not going to any of these other communities where there could be people harboring there too. I think it's just a very interesting conversation. And sadly, a lot of people don't want to have it. You know, it's one of those hard conversations, you know, to really talk about. And we appreciate your reporting and looking forward to what you put out next. We thank you, because that comes with courage. I'm sure some of, you know, what you've put out, it comes with people emailing you and maybe even looking for you. I don't know, you know, but it comes with that in this environment in which we're living right now, which is very interesting times, to say the very least.
It is. And thank you for allowing me to talk about this story.
Well, thank you for your bravery. All right, we'll look forward to what you put out next, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show. Have a great weekend to you, Manny.
Thanks, you as well.
All right, well, let's talk about this. That's a hard one, isn't it? I mean, it's even hard
a hard one. Yeah, I'm just sitting here honestly reflecting about the whole conversation, because that's, I mean, great reporting by Manny, because that's just another layer that we haven't even gotten to yet and that he's bringing to light.
And I think it's one of those things where it hasn't hit your front door yet, so you're watching it play out, and in some cases, a majority of Chicago is not impacted by this. I mean, we have to talk about the reality here. Depending on your zip code, you're seeing this play out. You may be 3 blocks away. It's not hit your front door, so it does not impact you directly. Just like violence in the city of Chicago has been pervasive on the south and west side in a lot of predominantly black neighborhoods, and people don't care as much because it has not hit their front door yet. We didn't see people screaming and being upset about crime as much until it started coming on Michigan Avenue more, until it started hitting some of these well-to-do neighborhoods. And I think that's the situation that we're in. Listen, I'm not trying to lose my job today, but it's conversations that I think that are worth talking about and delving into. I'm not here to say immigration is right or wrong. I'm just talking about the optics of how everything is playing out. And unfortunately, Chicago is making history in this space right now. This is uncharted territory, and we're making history in it. So we'll continue to follow it and do the best job that we can as journalists to get all sides of everything that is transpiring on the ground in the city of Chicago. Okay, in all of this, you got to stay well, right? There's a lot of topics that are really hard to delve through, and we got to keep our bodies together. And coming up, we're going to talk about some wellness hacks. Do they work? Are they safe? Are they real? We'll have it for you right after this break.
These are the moments.
Welcome back to Chicago Now. I told you, Tia, that it seems like my TikTok algorithm is really like helping me find the fountain of youth. At least it seems like it. But sometimes it's not really the professionals and doctors that I should be looking to for advice. It's just people on social media just spewing their ideas. Well, today we're talking about viral longevity hacks, from extreme fasting to sleepless biohacks. That one's interesting, that are flooding TikTok and Instagram, but many are unproven and are unsafe. So joining us is Brent Franson from Death Clock, which uses AI and personal health data to help people understand what can actually extend their lifespan. You know, I thank you so much, Brent, first of all, for joining us, but I want to dive right into this because I think it's such an interesting topic of conversation. But what is the most misleading longevity hack that's trending online right now?
Oh, I don't know. There are so many. I think the number one thing that people think to be true that just isn't true is that kitchen sinking supplements is going to be helpful. There's only about a half dozen supplements that really show efficacy, so they're effective in improving your health, and the rest are just garbage. So the basics of longevity are sleep, diet, and exercise, and it's not just take 30 supplements a day is not the way to live a long life.
And that's one of the videos that always shows up, is what vitamin I should be taking. It's funny because in the 10 o'clock hour, we just talked to a doctor who himself takes vitamin D every so often. That's all he takes, and he was on talking about supplements. So I think it's true. You need to take what your body is needing rather than just spending money to spend money.
Yeah, I think too, in the world of social media with some of these people, we forget that they're sponsored, right? So they're taking all of these supplements. We're watching it. We're thinking, we need this too, but those are sponsored. Talk about how Death Clock uses AI. I'm really interested in that.
Yeah, so we trained an AI on 1,200 longevity studies, the peer-reviewed, the most robust research on longevity, and we trained it to predict when you're going to die. So you answer about 30 questions, and it predicts the date of your death, but it also predicts how much longer you can live if you proactively manage your health. And then what it is, it's an AI health concierge. So you can take all of your health data, you can get blood tests through Death Clock, and then you've got an AI that's trained on that to produce a report and a set of recommendations to help you be healthy and live longer. So it's going to recommend cancer screenings and supplements, medications, things to talk to your doctor about. So it's really focused on helping you be healthy and prevent disease.
It's interesting because I saw this trending on social media not too long ago, and I said, no way in HE double hockey sticks am I going to do this, because if it tells me I'm dying in 5 years, I'm not ready for that. What has the reaction been? Has the reaction been that people want to know? Because in some cases, we don't have a magic ball. There's no way to really know, but maybe it can help you catch some things early and change really the trajectory of your life.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. I think it sounds scary to people because we're often in denial about death, and I get that. Death is a scary topic. What we're trying to do is we're trying to shake people and say, hey, you are going to die, but the question is when. And the more you know about your health, the more proactive you are in understanding yourself, your own health, the better position you're going to be to do the right things to live longer. Life is beautiful. We want to hang out as long as we can. And so we're just really trying to shake people. But the experience itself is not scary. A lot of people will not do it because they're concerned about it, just as you're saying. But we haven't had anybody who goes through it and then says, oh, I regret doing that. We do present 2 dates. We're never going to tell you you're going to die in 5 years.
Well, a lot of people have downloaded it. I'm looking at it right now. So a lot of people want this AI-backed information. So I think it's really incredible. I'm going to do it, and maybe we'll give our results on Monday.
Maybe we will. Exactly.
Yeah,
we should do it over the weekend, and then it's going to make me feel bad about like having fast food or something like that. You know, when I was introducing you, I talked about two longevity hacks that are going viral right now: extreme fasting, which I hear a lot about, and also sleepless biohacks. That latter one especially, I'm curious about. Do you know anything about those two topics?
Well, so on fasting, there is some evidence that fasting can be helpful, and so it can help you get into a state of ketosis, which is how your how your body is consuming energy, and that can be helpful. You want to be really careful with extreme fasting, and then fasting itself is not for everybody. So you don't want to do extreme fasting outside of the care of a doctor, and doctors are not going to tell you to do extreme fasting. So you can ignore that one. And then anytime you hear the word sleepless in relationship to longevity, you can throw that out the window. There's nothing more important than getting enough sleep and getting high quality sleep for all facets of your health. And so sleepless anything, garbage, it's going to have the opposite effect. It's going to shorten your life.
Yeah, that makes me think of a woman's story who went viral. She owned a restaurant. She just started the restaurant. She didn't get enough sleep, was always exhausted, always tired, kept working, and literally died. So you're absolutely right. When it comes to that, why do you think some of these fads go viral so quickly? Do you think it's because people aren't paying attention, that they're paying for some of these? Because you can pay for some of these videos online to then kind of, you know, be thrown into the algorithm or thrown into people's faces a little more. Do you think that has something to do with it?
Yeah, I think people are paying attention. They're just paying too little attention in the form of short form content. And so, first of all, the algorithm is going to be favoring content that's extreme, that is not traditional content. And so that's going to be served more often than the basics. Because the truth here is that it's 95% of the longevity battle: sleep, diet, exercise, and spending a lot of time with friends and family. The second thing is that, you know, people want silver bullets, and I think that's understandable. It's hard to get sleep right and to eat well and to exercise regularly. Those things are hard. And so if you hear that maybe there's a shortcut around those things, then that's going to be enticing to you. But the unfortunate reality is there is not. You got to get sleep, diet, and exercise right. Spend a lot of time with friends and family. Make sure you're getting the recommended cancer screenings. If you're doing those things, you're in a great position. You don't need the supplements and the extreme fasting and sleepless whatever.
What do you make of, and I only ask this, I know it's not a supplement, I know sometimes it causes controversy, but we are living in the world of, at least the last year, I've heard so many people talk about it, because it is one of those quick, I think, fixes overall, and that's the Wegovy world, the Ozempic world. How do you think that plays into all of this? Because for some people, that is a longevity hack, and I say that because we're seeing celebrities get behind some of this stuff. Serena Williams recently came out and talked about, you know, I think dropping 50 or 60 pounds because of one of these drugs. What do you make of those?
So they really are miracle drugs, these GLP-1 agonists like Wegovy and Ozempic. They are, they've been studied most in the context of obesity and weight loss, and they really do seem to be miracle drugs. And so, you know, lots of research to support them in that context. There's less research to support microdosing them for longevity if you're not struggling with your weight or obesity, but you know, they help with cardiovascular health, inflammation, metabolic health, and risk of type 2 diabetes. And it's really hard for people to lose weight with, you know, just diet and exercise alone. And so they really are breakthroughs. But you should always, of course, be consulting with your doctor. And they're too expensive now as well. They're a little bit inaccessible financially.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's changing a lot too. But anything to help you out with your weight, I think in turn makes you healthier. What is one maybe simple, proven longevity hack that you would recommend after we've talked about some of these fads?
Yeah, there's a famous study called the Study of Adult Human Development at Harvard that's been going on for years. JFK was in the study. That's how long it's been going on. And the number one factor that determines how long people are going to live are their social connections. And so, you know, the very easy longevity hack, it's enjoyable, is spend a lot of time with friends and family. Socialize, spend as much time as you can. You know, go to the parties, basically. Sometimes that's the opposite advice of what we hear, but spend time with people you love.
Yeah, sometimes saying, yes, I'll be there,
you know, that
instead of no.
Exactly, yeah. Well, and I can see that that's going to be a big problem for our future, because think about how many people are hermits. They're on their phones, they rather turn to social media or video games or such instead of getting that human interaction. Okay, then socializing. That is the answer.
I think Shonda Rhimes wrote a book, and I may botch the actual title. It was called The Year of Yes. And the whole mission behind it was to say yes more to social things so that you can live longer, have a more fulfilled life. So, and I did read it, I just can't remember the title. But I think what you're saying plays very well into that. We're so used to saying, you know, I need some sleep. No. You get the sleep still, but you should probably interact with others too. You have been fantastic. Hopefully we can have you back on the show at some point.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. I've enjoyed it.
All right.
Thank you so much, Brent.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time. Yeah, I like what he had to say there.
We had a lot of great, I think, like, you know, health experts on today with the supplements and the 10 o'clock hour plus him. It's like the perfect mix because we're getting our questions answered. Because, yeah, everyone wants to find that fountain of youth, even a young person like myself. Luckily, no big issues.
You haven't had any issues. I think a lot of people, we're living in an environment now where everybody's saying, hey, I take vitamins. People are always, anytime I get sick now, young, old, it does not matter. It crosses age, gender, all of that, race. People are like, well, you know you need those vitamins. And I'm like, well, I know people that don't take them. And
exactly, like the doctor that we had come on. But I do have a great nighttime drink that I've told everyone about already.
What is it?
I'm going to give you all the ingredients. It's like 6 things. I can't even list it in the time that we have in this block. So
okay,
I'll tell you during the break. We'll see you right after this.
This
Welcome back to Chicago Now. October is a very important month for many things in terms of in the medical field, and it is also Menopause Awareness Month, recognizing the 1.3 million American women that enter menopause every single year. And in fact, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, they are the publishers of a new book. It's called Menopause, What Your OBGYN Wants You to Know. And joining us to talk about this is Dr. Holly Cummings, I should say. She's a physician at Penn Medicine and chair of Pennsylvania ACOG. Thank you for joining us this early in the morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you being with us. I guess it's not that early. It's 11:35 here. But when it comes to this book, why did you decide to write it? Why was it so important for women to have access to this information?
Yes, great question. I'm so happy to be here as a spokesperson for ACOG, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, which has written this book for patients, for women about going through menopause. I am sad to say I am not one of the authors, but happy to be here as a spokesperson. And I do participate in a lot of the activities that we have at the organization for patient-centered education and information.
You know, Tia and I were just talking in the break and earlier in the show that sometimes when something's not impacting you directly, you kind of, you know, turn away. Right now, we're luckily younger, you know, menopause doesn't hit us, and a lot of people don't have conversations about it. So why do you think it is important for us young ladies to think about it and maybe educate ourselves early?
Absolutely. Menopause is something that everybody will go through as they get older. And prior to menopause, which is defined as having your last period and then going 12 months without another menstrual period. So prior to that happening, everybody also goes through perimenopause. And perimenopause is sort of an ill-defined period characterized by lots of changes in your health, in your menstrual cycles. And those are things that lots of my patients bring up with me as well. Even if they're not quite going through menopause yet and not having any of those classic sort of hot flashes or night sweats, they are starting to notice changes in their body. And that's why it's good for everybody to be aware of this.
So the book itself, I think the title is very interesting. You know, what your doctor essentially wants you to know, your OBGYN. What do you think is important for women to know as they enter this period of their lives?
Great question. I think in prior generations, this was a transition, a time in our lives that wasn't really talked about. And so many people don't have the familial support or knowledge that has been passed down, like maybe other health transitions they've gone through in their life, such as maybe being pregnant or, you know, rewinding even farther, having your first period. You may have gotten a lot of information from your older relatives in your life, but that's not so much the case for menopause for a lot of people. And so it's you know, really important to be aware of the change that might happen. The most classic ones, as I alluded to before, include things like hot flashes, where you all of a sudden feel very hot, or night sweats, where you're feeling very hot at night. It's very difficult to stay comfortable. Many people will also start to notice subtle, more vague symptoms like difficulty sleeping or changes with memory and concentration, often referred to as brain fog.
So if you're experiencing one of those, should you go to your doctor right away and see, you know, if this is something maybe that is happening, it's menopause or it's something else? Is that kind of the only way to know?
Well, we don't need to do any testing for it to see if you're going through menopause. So sometimes patients will ask if there's a role for, you know, testing hormone levels, and the answer there is usually no. But depending on how old you are and what changes you are noticing, particularly if there are changes in your menstrual cycles or your bleeding patterns, then certainly your healthcare provider will want to know, so we can make sure that you're, you know, in general healthy, nothing worrisome is happening, and then we can also address the symptoms that you're having.
What are some tips for women to really get through this? You know, because if you're dealing with hot flashes, that, you know, out of the blue, you don't know when they're going to come. I know weight is also sometimes an issue with menopause as well. What are some tips that women can use to get through it?
Yeah, great question. I think sort of the number one sort of symptom that we can provide relief for is better sleep. And if you can get better sleep, then a lot of other things will follow. You'll have better concentration during the day. You'll have less fatigue. You'll have more energy. It will probably be a little bit easier for you to do things like exercise and eat healthy, and therefore lose some of that weight. And so a lot of the things that we focus on are good sleep. So if somebody has something very concerning, like concerns for sleep apnea, which is a condition where you may be stopping breathing when you're sleeping, then we want to get that checked out. If you're having, you know, simple things that patients can do to start, often they have before they come to see me, include things like changing the temperature of the room that you're sleeping in. Change your thermostat so you're sleeping at a lower temperature. Use sheets that wick away that sweat in the middle of the night. Sleep with fans. So a lot of those sort of environmental or lifestyle factors you can try on your own first.
Well, I bet that, you know, if you are going through this, that you maybe look to social media or just online for some tips and tricks to help you out. But are people at risk for maybe not getting science-backed tips and you know, putting themselves maybe in a bad spot?
I know that's a theme of things you've been speaking about this morning, and certainly that can happen with the information that we see on social media. Things that are scientifically rigorously studied and we know have a lot of evidence behind them for treating menopausal symptoms include hormone therapy, so using medications with estrogen and sometimes progesterone in them to help manage those symptoms. One thing that we'll see sometimes on the internet is the recommendation to use what are called bioidentical hormones. And in general, oftentimes on the internet, when we say bioidentical hormones, people mean medications that are acquired from a compounding pharmacy rather than a medication that's been FDA approved and packaged for appropriate use with patients. And so we generally recommend not using compounded hormones, but rather using, there's a variety of medications on the market that we can use to manage the symptoms and health concerns, and they're all very safe as long as the patient doesn't have certain risk factors. We also have non-hormonal medications as well, and so some patients aren't able to use hormone medications, but we have lots of medications on the market to help people through this time in their lives.
Dr. Cummings, maybe someone's watching right now, they're not quite there at the menopause, stage, but they're getting close to it. Are there things that you would recommend, we do physically to prepare for menopause as we approach it?
Great question. I think as we, for anybody at any point in their lives, I certainly recommend healthy eating, paying attention to what you eat, and having a structured exercise regimen. We know that consistent, even small amounts of exercise can really make a difference for people's health. And that is true during the perimenopause and menopause years as well. So diet and exercise I recommend for everybody.
Okay, diet and exercise, as they say.
Yeah.
But you know what? It rings true, I guess. With this book, have you found that you've had a good response from some patients who really need that piece of advice that they're not getting, as you said, maybe from family members, from peers, about menopause?
Yes. One thing that not everybody knows is that some physicians do and other health providers do have a particular focus or extra training in menopause treatment. And if you feel like your health provider doesn't really know how to help support you through menopause, it's very reasonable to look for a second opinion. And this book can help you find the resources to do that.
I know you said you're not one of the authors of the book, but what I did like at the very top of it, it said, go back to it, you guys. I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing of what the actual cover said. It says, developed by experts, backed by science. And I've seen a lot of these books that come out, no matter what the topic is, but it could be something in the health field, and it's by somebody who's never been a doctor. They're giving their take on something with no, real educational experience behind it. How important do you think it is to have a book out there like this that is backed by experts, people that have spent years and years in the education field on this particular topic?
It's very important. We know that, the best healthcare is given by people who understand the state of the science and the evidence and are going to suggest treatments that are safe for patients and tailored to them. And we have books on lots of other healthcare topics written by experts and backed by science. And it's time that we had one for menopause as well. So I'm really happy this is coming out.
You have been absolutely great, Dr. Holly Cummings. I'm sure you're working, so we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with us on this amazing Friday. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Thank
it has
you.
been a pleasure.
Again, not that we're hopefully.
I gotta go on a diet now, thanks to all these
you know
folks
what? Yeah, no kidding. Everyone has been saying diet and exercise is the key. Also some good sleep, and you don't apparently need all of the supplements that are in the grocery store in your cabinet to take every day.
Auntie Anne's is now located right off of Lake in Michigan, and I've been thinking about it all day, but because of these experts, I ain't going there.
Tia, that is Sugar Row right there.
I know, and guess what?
And
we just got paid.
Oh.
So we got the money in the account, okay? So you can go get a couple of those little cups of the cinnamon sugar with butter.
Keep
pretzels.
talking.
Oh,
Keep
God.
talking about
I'm
language.
not going. I'm not going.
All right. Well, speaking of money, well, maybe younger people are able to get a better job through this event. There is going to be a college fair that will offer students an immersive conference-style experience. We're going to talk all about it coming up.
Get an 11.
All right, welcome back to Chicago Now. Thank you so much for taking time out and sticking with us on this Friday afternoon. You know, it's been a few years, Gabby, but I remember going to the college fair.
You know what? I do too, and it doesn't seem like it's as great and complex as this is that we're about to get to. But, you know, I grew up in a small town, so we only had so much opportunity. Honestly, when I was looking for schools, I was looking for scholarship opportunity, and I was thinking about something I could afford.
Yeah.
So that's why I appreciate this so much. So on Monday, October 27th at University of Chicago, starting at 11 a.m., the Digham College Fair will offer students an immersive conference-style experience, as we said. So joining us is DeMarcus, also known as Mark Supreme Hamilton.
Right there on his little name card.
You know what? I love it. No, your outfit is just looking so good right now, and you have a gift for us too. You are educator, author, motivational speaker, and founder of Digham. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Just quick clarification, University of Illinois, Chicago.
Illinois, Chicago. Thank you very much for that. No, we appreciate that.
So UIC.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about this because we were talking about, we remember college fairs. They were boring. And we were, you know, talked to a few college people. They were at the desk. You were like, how do you want me to come to your college and you're this boring?
Yeah.
This sounds like this is immersive. It says something about pop culture infused into it. Tell us what makes this different from the traditional college fair that people are used to.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys for having me. This is based off the book I wrote called Damn, I Graduated in May, and that's what Digham stands for.
Okay.
And so this is different because, again, I come from higher education, so I know what was there and what wasn't and what students need. And so this is different because not only do we do the college fair experience and the exploration career fair or whatever, but we also have breakout sessions in business and entrepreneurship, government and nonprofit, arts and entertainment, STEM, health, trades, and sports. And so what we do is we bring in people from all over the country that specialize in these spaces to connect students directly with them so they can fill the knowledge gaps on how they can do what they want to become ultimately. So it was people that are in these high spaces, students know what they want to become, boom, we put them together, and now they have better insight and context on what next steps to take.
Oh, how awesome. Okay, how long have you been doing this for? And I bet obviously you have some success stories because just hearing about it, I know people are interested.
Yeah, so this is our 7th one.
Wow.
And this is our 7th one in 3 years.
Wow.
So we were doing two.
Multiple times
Yeah. So it started in Illinois, Chicago this fall.
So this is a big space compared to some of those others this time around. So Damn I Graduate in May is the name of the book.
Yeah, let's hold this up.
I get what you're saying, because a lot of times you don't, as a student, a high school student, this is coming up quick.
Yes.
You know, and
that's
sometimes you're not prepared for it.
Yeah.
Tell us who will be at this particular college fair. Maybe there's a parent watching right now. They're like, I want my kid to be there.
Great question. So we have people that work in sports from UIC. We have, and I'm forgetting names, so forgive me. We have people from the Bears. We have people that run their own business. We have somebody from TikTok, so that's going to be cool. So, and people don't think about, man, I can go work at TikTok. Yes, you can. And the reason why we set up the sports panel, and this is new, this is only our second time doing the sports panel. Last year we had people from like the White Sox, Missouri Valley Conference Hall of Fame, March Madness chair, the chair of the March Madness Selection Committee. We've had those people in the past. The reason why we did this is because if you talk to any student, almost first grade to sometimes even through college, I want to go to NBA still. I want to go to NFL. I want to go to MLB, right? And then, you know, most people aren't going to make it. Some will. I know people that win, so I ain't going to say you can't make it. But we want students to know that you can still have a career in sports even if you don't play. And so showing them the careers that either A, are hard to reach, how do you get there, and B, showing you the different capacities that you work in these industries that you didn't even know about. Same thing for arts and entertainment. You go to a Chris Brown concert, you're looking at, man, Chris Brown, I paid $150, $200 for this ticket. It's a lot of people in. He's getting a lot of money, but you don't think about, okay, but when this concert is over, all this stuff has to get packed up and moved on to the next city. That person has a career too.
Yeah.
And so we want to help students get that kind of context.
Yeah, because now when you talk to a lot of young people, especially with the rise of social media, the jobs that they want are centered around that. You know, they want to be famous, they want to be seen, they want to be the rapper, they want to be the athlete like you mentioned. And I automatically think of like a Magic Johnson or Shaq who went beyond, you know, the court. And now they're probably close to billionaires now because of their intelligence and business. Tell us why you think it's so important for kids to get those kind of focus group experiences, because a lot of times you're ready to go to college, you don't know what you want to do exactly. You don't know what it takes to get to that. You know, you don't know if I major in English, do I major in finance, what do I do?
Well, that's why we do it. Exactly what you just said, because as you mentioned, college fairs, we're just sitting there with these tables and like, hey, what do you want to come major in? You should come join us. And that's the wrong question. The question should be, what do you want to become? 10 years from now, you got to wake up ideally at 6 in the morning. You got to go somewhere. Where do you want that place to be that you get money from? Or some of y'all probably wake up 2, 3 in the morning, right? And so with that, and then on top of that, it's like, okay, these hard to reach spaces. Okay, this person is in the hard to reach space. Shout out to Domati Pongo. He works for MTV, right? He came. He was at our fair last year at ISU. And so for people that want to get into that space, he can tell you exactly what he did. And so now you have more insight on what next steps you need to take.
You know, I love this because it's so many of these names you're saying, it seems so unattainable to get a job there. And I bet parents and students are just so impressed when they actually go to the fair to be face to face with these people. Is that the same reaction you're getting?
Yes, yes, especially on the back end when they're like, wait, so, oh man, we had Justin Carter from Shade Room last year too.
Okay. Wow.
Who covered the Diddy trial and all that stuff. And so like, what, Shade Room and stuff like that. And so they get to talking. It's a wow moment, and they're excited to see them. And this is important for me because I had a dream. I went to school, graduated with terrible GPA from high school. It's in there. It's 1.8 GPA. I graduated high school, but I got my master's degree by 23 though, so I sped up. But I got my master's degree just to make sure. And then when I went to go set sail on my career, failure, right? I lived in LA, I lived in Atlanta, couldn't get a job for anything, right? And so now it's like, you're gonna like this chapter in there, it's called Drake versus Migos.
I saw that up there on the screen.
But it's like, okay, how do I become this person, right? And so I'm living in Atlanta and I'm broke. Like I'm broke. I'm talking about roaches in the kitchen, bro. We broke, right? And then SIU called me and they're like, hey, you want to come work for us? I'm like, no, like I already went to school there. Why do I want to go work at a school again? But I'm broke, so yeah, I'll come. Took that job, then took a job at NIU, and then again, working with these students, and I'm seeing that they have the same knowledge gaps in the questions I had 10 years ago. So I'm like, so these students are still stuck for whatever reason, even though time has progressed, technology has progressed, information has progressed, but they still have that, damn, I graduated Mayfield. So I wanted to help fill that gap, and it's just my testament to, you know, it's just my story, and using my failures to help other students. And it's also, I like to, you know, I call it a literary mixtape because it's almost like my contribution to education and hip hop.
I think it's crazy. So you did very well in PE PE.
Oh man, I was killing them in PE. What did you say?
Band.
I killed some band.
You got an A in band.
We did that on them.
Yeah, you got a B in health.
Yeah.
Oh, it has your actual report card.
It's my transcript in there, yeah.
In
just
government.
to show other
And
students.
then from there, I mean, art, you didn't do too bad.
Ain't too
And
bad.
then the bottom just dropped out. After that.
Yeah. We had to.
Still give yourself credit. But you know what? I think maybe the #1 skill that a lot of people don't have is confidence, right? Confidence to know that you can get some of these unattainable jobs. Of course, you know, having the steps and actually having them in front of you really helps. But do you find when they actually go to these job fairs and they see how easy it is to have these conversations, that's where they gain that confidence and they can soar?
It's about, sometimes we have to connect dots for students, right? And so that's a lot of what this fair is as well, too.
A lot
Connecting.
of people.
Yeah.
Man,
we had 500 students there.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's
I'm
about,
sorry, that
no,
just
it's
blew
good.
my
It's about connecting dots, though, right? And so some students don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what to do next. And common sense isn't always common, especially in this space. And especially if you're a first-generation student, you don't know where to start. And so it's about connecting those dots. I have a 7-year-old son. He just turned 8. His name is Sebastian Hamilton. He turned 8 today, right now.
Happy birthday.
And
buddy.
thank you. And so, but if you put 15 iPads on the left and $1 million in a suitcase on the right, he's probably going to choose the iPads because he hasn't made that connection, right? So here on campus, we try to make that connection. That's why we do it on the campus, because not only are you getting the exposure to these panelists, you're getting the exposure to the different colleges here, but now as you go to your different breakout session, you're traversing the campus, going to these classrooms and these breakout sessions on the college campus, so you're getting the feel and vibe of what college is like.
We're running out of time, but I got to ask you this. Is this free?
This is free.
And how can people find out about it if they're watching it?
So please go to Diggum Coach, at Diggum Coach on Instagram and at Diggum Coach on TikTok, and diggumcoach.com. diggumcoach.com and diggumcoach@gmail.com for more information, because what we do with these panelists, we also do interview segments with them, and so that way that information and content gets put out there, so this becomes accessible to anybody, whether you came to the fair or not.
All right.
You know what?
Thank you for coming.
After that first question, I know a lot of people at home are going to be interested in this.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you do,
I wish we had more time. I want to ask you about the funding part, because that's the biggest thing right now with all of these.
I can answer that right now. We need it. We need it. So look, we are taking donations for all type of things, including our scholarships. We have our Diggum Night of Scholars as well, too, so we want to continue to give that money out. And so anybody that's interested in helping students for their future, please hit us up, diggumcoach@gmail.com.
You
Mark
heard it
Supreme.
here.
Oh
Have
my
a good
gosh, you're
weekend,
awesome.
everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you next week for more Chicago Now.
See ya.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
These are the
Live from Chicago, This is Fox 32 News at noon.
Right now at noon, new details from the Department of Homeland Security as agents continue to crack down on immigration enforcement. President Donald Trump says trade talks with Canada are over. We've got details on the move by Ontario lawmakers that apparently kicked off the president. Hey, good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us here on Chicago, Fox 32 Chicago News at noon. Just got done with Good Day Chicago, so the day rolls on. Let's give you a live look outside right now. And as the day moves on, hopefully conditions are warming out there, Caitlin, because it was so chilly this morning.
So cold, yes. We're finally in the 40s and 50s, and highs today will be back to the mid-50s. And it's lovely. Look at that live shot. We've got blue skies, sunshine. There's no rain in the forecast today. Checking in on the current temperature, it's 49 degrees at the lakefront, also at O'Hare, 50 at Midway, 51 in Chicago Heights. As mentioned, temperatures pushing to the mid-50s just like yesterday. But we do have a few changes in the forecast as we head into your weekend. So let's talk about, first of all, our day planner for today. 54 degrees by 3, by 5, 52. So highs right around 54 to 55 degrees. But our 3-day forecast has those temperatures staying in the mid-50s tomorrow before jumping to almost 60 on Sunday. Also, we have the chance for a little bit of rain moving in. Tomorrow, we're going to have some scattered showers possible at 54 degrees. It is going to be cool as well. But on Sunday, if you're making your plans outside, Sunday is the day to head out. 60 degrees expected. 5-day temperatures does show that fall feel continues into next week. Mid to upper 50s actually expected today all the way through next Thursday at least. But we do have scattered wet weather returning as well. Monday through Wednesday, we have the chance for a little bit of wet weather around, which I'll show you on your 7-day forecast. Keep in mind our normal high is 60, so we are below that today and tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. We are still waiting for a judge to decide if a Portage Park father held by ICE can go home. His 16-year-old daughter is battling cancer and missed her treatment this week since he's been detained. Ruben Torres Maldonado has lived as a